What are your feelings towards your parents?
Oh my god, this is such a funny question.
Why? Why are you laughing?
It's really funny because
When I first met Diana and Anelia, they were on a budget-friendly after-school trip in Europe, managing with just 1,000 euros. They are staying at the cheapest accommodation, eat one meal a day, and do a lot of walk. They told me when the trip is over, they will become a skinny bitch. Notably, they had just passed a tough medical school entrance exam, and they were soon to gain more freedom, leaving their family to go to a university in a different city. Both of them are smart, motivated, and have a clear life goals. It seems to me that they also appeared more mature than their peers. I'm curious about what sets them apart from other Australian participants and how their common traits will shape their future journeys through the choice they make and their environment, Romania.
Random conversation. Okay, starting. So you can just. What was again the Romanian religious?
oh yes. Cum se spune la închină?
Like to make the cross.
Da, avea un termen. Okay,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
most people in Romania, like I would say 80-90% of people would make the cross when they pass by churches, and they're really fearful of God. My mother, for example, she's not that religious. You wouldn't say she's religious, but she goes like once a month to the church, like a full day. And that's not that religious. There are so many people, especially our grandparents, that go every Sunday from like 9 to 1 o'clock, and they pray, and then they have like a little lunch together, and then they go home.
Are you guys religious?
No.
And your parents, your family?
That broke my parents because they go to church, and they get really mad every time I talk about religion. But I'm respectful of their wishes. They're not respectful of mine.
With me, it's more like my mom believes in God, but she's not like religious. Like she wouldn't go to church or do whatever. But in my village, because I live in a village kind of, it's really close to the city though, like 10 minutes away. But like the priest comes in our house, and she's got a really good relationship with the priest, for example. But she wouldn't go to church. Like you wouldn't get her, like you wouldn't catch her there. But she
Only if it's a funeral.
Yeah, only if it's a funeral.
Why though?
I don't know. I guess like she doesn't really have time. I guess she's a hard worker person. Oh, I think this is our time that is done.
Okay.
No, wait. Ask you a question then.
Okay.
So why do you think the Romanians are so religious?
That's a really tough question because I don't really know. I don't really know where it started, but our grandparents were like 99% religious. Pretty much all of them. Maybe because of war, they got through it with God. And in school, oh, that's really fancy.
Yeah, it is actually.
In school, it also the teacher also told us that we got through all because of our religion as well, because it made us closer and be, I don't know, more together. And I think that's true.
So there's a sense of community.
Yes. Some people take it to the extreme, and that I don't like with abortion laws and everything like that. Fortunately, we don't have any abortion law in Romania. Yet. That's good.
There's a political party right now that's really right-winged, and that is trying to like have these policies put in, like abortion stuff, whatever. Yeah, just it has to
really
go down.
Oh, really? Okay.
Thank you.
Oh, thank you very much. Oh, we don't smoke. Do you smoke?
No.
Okay. Oh, thank you.
Smoking would be a great idea. It takes
Also
the hunger away.
in Germany, when you go, there's a right-wing political party that's really into power, especially in the eastern part. So be careful of that, I guess.
You didn't say about the bringing it in. No drink. Okay. How about we put something under and then we drink secretly?
Yeah,
Okay.
makes sense.
So
That would be really Romanian of us.
Oh, really?
Yes.
We
We love a good deal.
We do a Romanian style then. Okay. So can you introduce yourself a little bit?
Here you go. Why not?
Don't put me first in everything. Come on.
I'm always first. So like name,
Yeah.
age,
Anything that you want.
background.
Yeah.
Okay, my name is Anelia. I'm 19 years old at the moment and a future med student, I guess. I mean, I'm not. I am a med student, but like I haven't started my uni yet. So this next year is gonna be my first year. So yeah, I'm living in the east of Romania, and yeah, I don't know. I'm interested in traveling. I guess I really love traveling.
Okay. So I'm Diana, or Diana, if it's easier to pronounce. I'm also 19 at the time. Where we were in the same classroom together, so we're the same age, and we're from the same city. The city is Focșani, if somebody knows. I don't think anybody will know it. It's a
No.
really small town.
Really, the county that our city is in is really well known for the wine, though. In Romania, at least.
Yes, we have like a lot of wine, and it's homemade and it's really yummy. But I don't like wine, which is
I love wine.
Okay, can you briefly talk about your family?
Sure. Both my parents are vets, but one of them is actually like being a vet at the moment. One of them is not. Is working more in the medical field, like being a producer, like a seller of the stuff that they use in the hospitals.
like the supplies.
Yeah. Before my parents, I guess nobody had upper studies like uni studies. Like they were the first in the families. I mean,
Oh, wow.
on my mom's side, my dad's side is a bit like smarter, quote unquote, I guess. But my grandparents from my mom's side, they were always like, my grandma was working a good job, but she only finished high school, and my grandpa, I think he was the first one to actually finish high school in his family. Before that, he was like all the other people before him were shepherds. So, yeah. Yeah.
Siblings?
Yeah, I have a brother. He's younger than me, 11 years old, and he's studying like he's going now into middle school.
Okay. Your family?
Now it's my turn. It's kind of the same situation with the grandparents. It's really common in Romania. My grandparents only have 4th grade. My parents, my mother is working in the hospital, but it's not like a doctor or a nurse. It's something, I don't know, she's working in some kind of department. And my father is in the military. And I have an older brother, 8 years older, that's in Bucharest, and it's an IT guy with engineering, cyber something.
You guys are from like quite decent family in a way.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Okay.
We are middle class, I think. Not upper middle class, but middle class for sure. We had richer classmates, but I think they would be.
But I
upper
also
middle
feel like, again, like most, at least grandparents have the same kind of situation. Like, I don't hear a lot of grandparents actually finishing a uni or whatever.
That's really uncommon.
Yeah, it's really like, I only know one person, Kiki, whose grandma finished uni, and to me that was crazy because I think it's only the only one that I also know, because all the other grandparents are like, yeah, they finished high school and then they were into working.
Okay.
And most of them are from the countryside as well. Most grandparents, they're not really from the city.
But it's interesting how, even though you're from the like small city and countryside, you know, but somehow you're still doing like sort of, you know, high position, you know, so paying job, and like that, you know, and working in a hospital is like that kind of like decent, you know, proper job,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
In the family, I think everybody aimed higher. Like our grandparents wanted better than their parents, and my parents wanted better than them. So they
And the
moved to the
parents were
city,
supportive.
and they were really supportive. And almost all their money went towards the children and making. Yes, like my mother would choose if she would buy something new for her, like I don't know, a new dress, or maybe I don't know, took me some optional classes to prepare me for uni or something like that. And she made those sacrifices so that I could end up a doctor. And I'm
That's amazing.
yes, that's amazing. That's something I don't know if I could do. That's the thing, because if I'm thinking of children on my own, I don't think I can do the same sacrifice.
Yeah. It's true.
So what do you think about that? The fact that how their generation can do that, and then like our generation, like your generation, sorry, your generation, you know, might struggle to actually provide a similar kind of thing.
I think for me, like how I see it is like they did this to like for us, not for future not for the grandchildren, not for the children of the grandchildren. They just did it for us. So I think as long as we are happy, they are also gonna be happy. I think so. I mean, of course, they like hope for grandchildren. For example, my grandma always tells me how she wishes to like see me with grandchildren, but she's not like pushing it on me. She's not like, oh, you have to have grandchildren. No, she's like, yeah, okay, you have them, but then you're gonna become a man. If you're happy with that, I'm also happy for you. So. See,
but you know, I was wondering, there's something to do with how the fact that Romania used to be also run by like communism and then influenced by Soviet Union country, and that sort of culture still like carries through, and some parents will not really share their wealth to their children. They'll be like, this is my life and your life, you gotta figure out yourself, kind of mindset. So what do you think about that?
Well, in Romania it's kind of common to buy your kid a car and a house if you have the possibility, because not many people have. But they would take bank loans or something like that to provide for the children, so that they have a start in life, because they know how hard they started. Because my parents had no money, and my father's parents hated my mother because she came from the countryside. So she was really poor. And my father was middle class, upper middle class. She was really rich back then. And his parents didn't like her at all, so they let him with no money. So they started from absolute zero, from ground.
Okay, can we just quickly jump into the fact that your father was, upper middle class and then not anymore? Like, what happened? If you can talk about it.
Nothing really happened. Just his parents wouldn't provide for him anymore, and I know that he has a sister as well, and she got all the princess treatment. She got the house, she got the car, she got all the help in the world.
Okay.
But my grandmother had to give me money in a dark room somewhere in a corner so my grandfather wouldn't see. So that was my life pretty much growing up, because my grandfather wouldn't want to support us because we were my mother's children, and he hated my mother because he said she's just a poor girl from the countryside, she has no knowledge, he worked so hard to provide for his family, and now she comes and ruins it all. Really dramatic, I think. But yes.
I thought they were really prefer boys over girls in Romania as well.
Yeah, there's some misogyny in Romania.
Yeah, but how come, like in your family situation, like they love the daughter a lot more than?
Yes.
Yeah. What's the situation?
I think in Romania the princess treatment is really common. So daddy's girl, it's pretty common. Because I'm really spoiled by my father as well.
Oh wow, okay.
Because he always said that he has only one daughter, so he has to spoil her.
Okay.
But it's what he can manage.
Okay.
But there is a lot of misogyny. For example, I want to go to surgery. I want to become a surgeon.
Okay.
And every single Romanian doctor told me not to go to surgery because I'm a woman. And I need to have children and a family. And when you're in an operating room 24 hours a day, 12 hours a day, you don't have time for your children. And the father can raise the children by himself. So that is really common in Romania still.
Let me quickly ask question. Would you like to have children?
Depends.
Depends on what?
My partner wishes, because he could convince me maybe. I'm not really convinced myself.
Interesting.
Yes, it really depends. If he would really want it, I would consider it. I'm not like, no, I would never. I wouldn't want that for anyone. And I don't know if I would have an abortion as well. I don't know how to feel about it, because it's traumatizing either way. And I don't really hate children. So maybe if I were to be pregnant, I would go with the pregnancy.
Her English is getting better now.
Yeah, totally.
So what happened? How about you? Would you like children?
So I would say no at the moment. I don't picture myself as a parent, not really. I've thought about it a lot of times, but then I was like, no. And also, if I have a child, I don't know if I like give birth, like if burn, I birth to it, or like to them. Actually, it's not on it; it's on them. It's a person, or like if I would adopt them. But I really don't see myself as a parent in general. Like, I don't think, first of all, I want to become a doctor. So for me, this is the thing. Like, I don't think I'll have the time to be there for the child actually. And then when I have the money, I don't think I want to spend them I don't want to spend the money on the child. I would rather like go traveling, do whatever, you know. I don't know. Also, I don't have a lot of. I mean, I have patience, but I was an older sister, and I saw myself as an older sister. And yeah, of course, I was young at the time that my brother was born, but it was always like, yeah, so much tolerance and so much whatever. And it was not even my child that I was talking to; it was my brother. And I don't see myself doing this for a lifetime, because like being a parent is for a lifetime. So yeah.
You know, I have the impression that because I only interviewed 3 people in Romania, but you guys are like a lot more mature than on average in Australian, like same age student, like people. Yeah.
Maybe like you want
I think maybe no. Okay. I think maybe we're even more mature than Romania, because we have some classmates, especially boys. They mature later. They are told
They
that
don't
they
mature.
mature later because mothers cuddle them, and I've seen that in my brother, and it hurts me so much. My mother would wash his hair, and he would be in 12th grade.
Like
he would
the
go
final
to college.
Wait. Can you repeat that? What?
He would go to college in like 2 weeks,
Yeah.
and she would still wash his hair because it was his. Yes, she would cut his nails with the clippers.
I don't believe
I
it.
cooked for myself at 8 years old. For myself, my brother hasn't cooked in his life. I teach him how to make an egg, I think, and he was in 3rd year in college. 1 egg. And he was scared of oil because it was burning.
That's ridiculous.
Yes, that's ridiculous. I told her as well, and she wouldn't listen to me. She said that it's because he was really sick when he was young. But he's fine now, so why cuddle him so much?
What's gonna happen to his girlfriend?
He has a girlfriend.
Maybe he's good looking something. I don't know.
He has a girlfriend, but she's more of the traditional type. So she cooks, she cleans.
Yeah, it's really traditional in Romania for like a girl to be raised as a good like housewife kind of.
Yes.
I mean, I wasn't raised that way. Thank God.
Yeah.
Thank God I wasn't raised that way. Like my mom was like, no, you're gonna be an independent woman. You don't need no man in your life, you know, like this kind of person. But a lot of like our classmates, I feel like also they are raised like you have to cook, you have to clean, you have to know how to do like to please a man, whatever. It's like,
My gosh. Wow.
yeah,
Yes.
Abortion.
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, abortion.
I would have it.
You have it.
Yeah, I would.
I was wondering if it's generation thing, like your parents are like super religious. Even they're not religious, they're like follow and they're afraid and they have it. But now this generation, they're like, there's more freedom and there's like more awareness and then there's like more self-consciousness, and it's also to me that a lot more like westernized than your older generation. Like you
Yeah.
probably embrace some like now you the way you behave and the value that you have is like a very, you know, Western European American kind of like, you know, freedom, work, self-achievement, self-actualization, and you know. So what do you think about that?
Yeah, I think it's true, but I also think, I mean, again, not to sound like too whatever fancy, but I feel like we are also quite different from other people in our country, because thanks to our parents mostly, I would say, because our parents, like when I was a kid, my mom would take me out of the country to see other cultures, for example, and whatever.
Where'd you go?
Like Italy, like not so far. Italy, I was also to Spain, but you know, like she would make me like want to know more and whatever. So it's also like, because a lot of our classmates, I feel like they were also raised in this bubble, like really Romania and only that and this and only so this one view that you have to be something in your life and then become a mother, and then for girls mostly I'm talking, become a mother, have a house, have a good husband, and then marry and die and have children. You know, like I feel like a lot of people also see it this way, but I feel like the two of us had like an opportunity to evolve more than this.
Yes, and we saw it in class too because we had like a religion class. In Romania, it's common to have 1 hour a week we talk about religion, and we talked about abortion and things like that. And there were the two of us that said that abortion should be available, and the whole classroom was like,
No.
oh my god, you should take responsibility, you opened your legs,
Yeah.
you should take responsibility, it's a child's life at stake.
Yeah.
And it's just an embryo. And
Yeah.
we were also in like a class for biochemistry, so we knew biology, we knew it was just an embryo, but they were still talking that it's a full
It's concerning
child.
because most of us were like on their way to become a doctor, and they were saying that abortion isn't right. It was like, okay.
How old were you?
How old?
Like when you were doing that? That's
Like for
17, 18.
even 16.
Yes, and that's something really messed up that happened to us. In class, our teacher brought us this signs that said that abortion is wrong.
In the 6th grade.
In the 6th grade, we
which
were
were like 12,
13.
13.
Something like that, and we didn't know what abortion was, of course. And she just made us stand with these signs to take some pictures.
Yeah.
And we didn't
It was
know
propaganda.
what was saying
Like, it was-
on them exactly, because there was some kind of walk for life or something like that in our city, and we didn't know shit.
Yeah.
And now
Yeah.
we look back then, and
Because it's on the
we really
internet.
think that's messed up. We didn't know what we signed up for. We were just in classroom.
become a med student, whatever.
leaving the country and everything else.
Oh, yeah. But I said that you'd start with that
No.
one. No, but I said you'd
People
start.
say rock. People say
Yeah.
rock. Scissor, paper, rock.
Wait, you started too fast.
Está finita. Okay.
You're really nice. You're really nice. Love you.
Okay.
Okay, yeah, go on.
Okay, so I get it.
Complicated, yes.
Yeah, it is. So when I was just 6 years old, this sounds like the typical story. I was like, my mom made me do these English classes, and she was like, no, you have to like learn English now. I was like, okay. And I wanted to learn French at the time. I was like, okay. But then I started learning English, and then at some point, because my mom is working in the medical field, I met a lot of doctors. Like we have a lot of doctors. I have a lot of doctors in my life, and I was like really considering like becoming a doctor. I was like, okay, I want to become a doctor, I guess. And this was like when I was 6 years old, right? Which was quite the young age. And then I went to France when I was like 8 years old. And then I went with my father and another doctor that was a friend in our family and his child, and he's a plastic surgeon. And I was so amazed by his knowledge. Like I was like 8 years old and listening to this man, like knowing history, speaking fluent French, like knowing English, like knowing all this stuff. Right? And I was like really young, and I was looking at him. I was like amazed. I was like, is it like this that doctors are like? I was like really like, oh my god. And I was like, no, I think I want to become this. Like I think I want to become a doctor. And I had this idea more or less for my entire life, I guess. I mean, in middle school I was also a bit like, oh, I don't know if I want to become a doctor, but I guess I will be. But then I got to high school and I started volunteering more and meeting these new people that usually I was in my bubble. Like I was with Diana and with other friends that also wanted to become doctors or like wanted to do something like science related. And then I got into volunteering projects with people from other countries that of course have other views on life and whatever. And I met these people who were going to anthropology, like becoming teachers and whatever. And I didn't have these people in my life before. And I was like, then I really thought about it. I was like, do I want to become a doctor? And like for 2 years since like I think 3 years ago, I started like really wondering if I really want to become a doctor or if it's just an implemented idea in my head that I've had for so long, right? Yeah. And I was like I thought of going into like political science. I wanted to go to history. I wanted to go to geography. I was like going through all this like physics. I was really thinking once of becoming a physician, not a physician, but like to going to NASA and then just being there. I invested a lot of time in searching this actually, and Diana here was like, you're crazy, you're probably gonna become a doctor anyways. And I was like, yeah, maybe, but I still have to like search for it. I was thinking of going to languages because at one point in my life I was so into languages that I was like, no, I really want to do this now. Tourism, anthropology, even teacher related fields. Like I was really going through all of them, all things that I haven't considered until that point. And I was like 16 or 17. And like for 10 years I had this one belief that I'll become a doctor, right, or more or less again. And then at 16 I was like, but maybe I don't want to become this. And then it was really crazy for me actually. But then last year I was like, no, I really have to decide now. And I took a step back and I was like, yeah, I could do more stuff. Like, I don't think medicine is the only thing I can do. I could totally go into languages as well. I could become a teacher if I wanted to. I could even go into physics if I really wanted to, like I think I can do that. But it's just like something that fits for me, I feel like medicine, this is what I want. And also for me, what really made medicine like first choice is also, as you said it, that you can like work for more hours, but like choose a certain times like in a month and then go traveling. For me, this really made it, because what I really want to do in my life is to travel. Like, it's one of the main priorities in my life. Like, no family, no whatever, but like to travel is like really important for me. So I thought, okay, so this gives me the money, gives me the time, more or less. I have a lot of opportunities because doctors always have to go to these congresses and whatever, and they have to travel. So I think this is what I want to do. So yeah, this is kind of, and like traveling outside, I think also my parents, because since I was a kid, my aunt, is really common for Romanians to move to Italy. So a lot of Romanian kids have like some kind of relative in Italy. So I was always traveling to Italy or to other countries. So I was also like really into traveling since I was young, I guess. So yeah.
You explained it really well. So you had thought and now decided.
Yeah.
Was it hard for you to get into the university medicine?
Yeah, it was quite hard, I would
It's
say.
a really tough exam. For some reason, you have to know medicine before you go into medicine,
Yeah.
to learn
Yeah.
medicine.
So
Yes.
tell me about that.
We had like a 600-page book to learn, and it had chapters from chemistry, mostly biochemistry, and a lot of anatomy and physiology. It was tough. It's like a multiple choice exam, 100 questions in 3 hours.
Wow.
And we got like a 90 in the exam.
No, she got the 90, I got the...
I got a 92, she got an
84.
80 or 85 almost.
Yeah.
You passed it.
Yeah, we
Yes.
both passed it.
You both passed. It's okay.
What about the high school end of exam?
That was quite easy.
Because we're learning so much biology and focusing so much on med school, because it's really tough to get in. It's one of the toughest in Romania. We didn't really think about the end of high school exam.
Until 2 weeks before.
Until 2 weeks before, we remember some of the stuff. Of course, we learned something along the way, and we went to a really good high school, like one of the best in our city. So we knew 95% of that stuff, and we got really good grades as well.
Can I assume you guys are really smart?
No, I don't know. She's really smart.
She has
really
self-esteem
smart.
problems. She's so smart. Okay, she's really smart. We're both. If I'm looking like this, like objectively, we are really smart because we got into a really good high school and we got into med school. But she's got some problems she has to deal with.
Okay, tell me about the problem. Okay, how about you start first and then you talk about it.
Is the kind of problem, when you have a test and it's that classmate that always says, I will fail, and then she gets the best grade.
Okay.
He is her.
Okay. So what's wrong with you? Why
What's wrong with you?
I'm sorry, but what?
No, I know. I really don't know. I have to go to therapy for that, I guess. I don't know. It's just like, I don't know. I always have this idea that I'm not that good, actually. And I feel like it. Like, yeah.
But it's crazy because she would tell me 2 days before our med entry exam, she tells me that she will fail. Like, below 6 fail. And she got an 83. And she was like 69 on the list.
Wow.
And there were 1,000 people. And she tells me that she doesn't know anything. And there are people that go into this exam and only like read the book once.
Can you answer this question?
No, it wasn't a question. It's just a fact, I guess.
No, but like,
It's not logical. She admits,
So can
she
you-
admits it. It's just a feeling. It's not logical.
make a comment about this fact that you are 1,000 people, you are 84, 5,
69.
86, and then like you, number 69, like you're like
On top of the list, on the first
so,
page.
So how?
How I got that high.
No. Like, why you have this self-doubt?
Why you self-question?
I don't know, because before even, like, it was also like one of my few exams that I got an 84 in, because like my grade was 84, I was 69 on the list, 69th on the list, but it was also like I had private lessons for med school entry, of course, because everyone does them to get in actually, and before that I was always getting, like my average was a 70, for example.
And it's still a pass. You would still get
a
into
pass,
med
but it's not a
school.
good pass.
You maybe have to pay a tax, but you still got into med school.
Maybe she has extremely high standard for herself.
Yeah, this is what everyone says, so maybe it's that.
Maybe, I don't know. I'm asking you.
Yeah, I don't know, because if you have really high standards, I think you don't question yourself that much.
No, I feel like you question yourself even more, because like if you have really high standards, then you want to achieve more. Like for example, I got into med school and I'm really happy with my grade. Look at me, don't get me wrong, but it's like in the 8th grade exam. In the 8th grade, in order to enter high school, you have to take an exam, and in that exam, we both got amazing grades. She got like a 98 out of 10, and I got like a 98 also, but like something like that. Like it's really high, like it was like 10, like really, really high up. Like in the first 100 people in our country, there are some people.
Oh, wow.
And like, then both of us questioned ourselves. We were like, yeah, but it's not a good grade. It's not like an amazing grade.
It's just because we learned so much and we wanted to be perfect. But that's another thing, because I aim really high as well. But I know what I know. So like I looked at this book and I knew, look, these chapters I know really well. This I can learn again. But I know I can do like the bare minimum to get in. And she doesn't have that. Okay. And that's not confidence. That's just kind of knowing yourself and what you can do and what you learned. And we learned for a whole year. So
I also feel like I know myself in general. Maybe not on knowledge stuff, but I feel like I know myself. Like I know what I want to do. Like for example, I really know that I want to travel.
Let's pause this for a while, and then let's go to Diana's stories about how come you also want to be a doctor, and then how come you also want to leave Romania and then get a job, different country, different lifestyle.
Okay, so it's really funny because I didn't want to be a doctor until 8th grade, when I really had to decide what I want to be.
Wait a second. Why do you have to decide that early?
Because you have to go into high school like on a profile. Like we went into biochemistry, so you have multiple hours of biology and chemistry, more than somebody like in another profile. We have I don't know, mathematics and informatics. That's one. Philosophy is one, and social science.
Yeah. Like we have to that are like STEM and to our,
because those hours really count. These hours really count, and it really depends on the teacher that you have. Some are better, some are worse. It depends on the
8th grade.
Yeah, like 14 years old.
Second year of the middle school.
No. For us, so for us it's 4th year.
4 year of primary school.
Actually, now it's 5 because we have 0 grade, 1st grade, 2nd
5
grade.
now. We didn't get that 0 grade.
Yeah.
We only had 4 years.
Back in the day, there were only 4.
Okay.
And we have 4 of middle school and 4 of high school.
Yeah.
And then you go to university, 3, 4, or 6 years if you want to go med school, architecture, or something like that. So at first I didn't want to be a doctor at all. I hated the idea of being a doctor because my mother went to, I don't know if it was a doctor, but she read the behind of my eye. She read, it's common practice. I don't know what it's called really, but she told me that I will wear a white coat. And that means doctor.
It was like witchy stuff.
Witchy stuff. A lot of witchy stuff. My grandma, not grandmother, I think. My grandmother, I think she was a witch, but she died before I was born.
Grandma.
Maybe she's right then. Like, no, you want to be doctor.
Yes, we could try.
Yeah.
We could try. But I really hated the idea because everybody would tell me that, oh, you would become a doctor, you would be so rich. So I said, no, I will not become a doctor. I will become whatever the hell I want. I wanted to be a doctor anyways. And another thing is my aunt, with whom I don't really get along, because she has this really weird obsession with doctors, and she forced her children to go to med school because She wanted them to be like upper middle class or like upper class as well. They wanted them to be so rich and have this kind of place in society. So she forced them, and she had the money to do so.
She was rich.
In Romania, you can buy
Really
yourself
rich.
into
Really rich.
school.
What do you mean really rich?
How rich?
Yeah, like, you know.
So my uncle, it's he drives boats, like really big boats, the biggest you can find, like with the biggest company in the world, or the third biggest. It's like a French company, but in some other parts in Europe, I don't know. But he makes like 12,000 euro a month, and like the minimum salary in Romania is 400 euro.
Not even
I think.
400, like 300
Like,
euros.
A good salary in Romania is 1,000 euro. If you have 1,000 euro, you can live well, and he had 12,000. So he had the money to keep his children in
Romania,
med school. And in
corruption is a
Romania,
thing.
yes, you can also pay for the exam, and that's really messed up because some of us have to learn really hard, and some of other people, they can really just pay for the exam. And
But it's not only a Romania thing, just to make sure, like, generally, I feel like it
it's not-
happens to a
it's
lot
not
of other
Romania.
countries. So.
Yeah, so tell me about, finish the...
Yes.
Yeah.
So she had this really weird obsession, and I said that I wouldn't want to be a doctor because it was painted really negatively, I think, in my family, because they were forced, they didn't really want it. But after all, when I was in 8th grade, I really had to sit down and think about what I want, and I went through all of these jobs, and I said, yes, I could do that. I would be good in that. I would enjoy it not, probably. And med school was the only thing I could think of that would bring me some kind of joy. I really wanted to have patience and, I don't know, work with people, and I really wanted to do surgery, so that was the thing for me. I was fascinated by it.
You'll be a surgeon.
I hope so. I hope so.
Let's go. In 7 years, when we do it again, you'll be in a white coat and a surgeon.
Yes, true. In residency,
Yeah.
if we go to med
Yeah,
school.
yeah.
But
That'll be so cool, right? We're predicting the future.
Yeah,
Yeah.
true.
yes.
Okay.
So that was my story.
Right. Do you guys believe in love?
You go
That's
first.
a funny one.
Yeah.
My lover.
Your lover. So love. I think there are multiple types of love, like family love, romantic love. You know, like the Greek philosophers
Yeah.
make it like out. Yeah, I believe in that.
Okay.
I guess. I
No,
really.
no, tell me about which philosopher? Socrates or Plato? What kind of? Can you? Audience will understand. So can you describe a little bit?
Yeah, Plato. Like I think he was the one that to like name them all and give them names, and
Yeah.
like agape and
Yeah.
platonic love. Like after like Plato and platonic love, like
Yeah.
he made platonic love a thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
And romantic love and whatever. Like he named them. He put a name on them. I guess. Yeah, I believe in his theories and what he said. I don't know a lot about them. I just know that he did it and then he named them actually. I really experience platonic love a lot, and I really enjoy it, and I feel like platonic love is really important in your life, and I like for me this is the most important actually, like platonic love, like to have friends and
Tell me more.
whatever in your
Yeah.
life.
What do you mean when you talk about the platonic love? The part that you enjoy.
I don't know. I think it's mostly the fact that, like, in a platonic love, and okay, you can, whatever I say platonic love, you can also say about the romantic love, but in my head it's not like this, I guess. It's like really you stay in this relationship with not that much to gain. Like you have friends and you just stay and chill, but you don't actually gain something. Like you don't kiss, you don't have sex, you don't whatever, you know.
Okay.
And you still stay with that person because they are that person, and you just enjoy their company. No, it's like really like just that. Like you, nothing more, nothing less. Like you can, of course, like also kiss and have sex and still be friends, whatever.
Yeah.
But like most of the times it doesn't happen, or if it does, it's again like it's not like you are in this relationship only for that, because what it happens a lot in love, romantic loves, especially like young romantic loves, like first loves and whatever. I feel like you go into this and you're just in there not because you really like the other person, but because you like what you gain from the other person more.
Is that love?
Yeah, like romantic love.
No, like the one that you wanted to gain from someone else. Is it love? Do you think?
Yeah, I think so. You can also call it that. I think so, at least. Why do you look at me like that?
No, we're just really different on this subject.
I really hate romantic love. This is mostly it. I hate this.
Okay, why?
I don't know. I just don't like it. I feel like, or also with romantic love, like you have all these friends, like you when you are young, right? You have like, even with me and Diana, I have her. She's my like a really good friend of mine, like my best friend, right? Amazing. At one point she might have a boyfriend, or I might have a partner, you know, and then she's like not gonna leave me. No, this is not the word for it, but of course she's gonna like pay more attention to the other one, like of course that
And
makes
she hates
sense.
that.
And I
It's
hate
okay.
that, and I hate
it's
that.
understandable.
Like because it's like also like I don't know. Of course you can also say this about friends, because I also have other friends, right? And sometimes I'm leaving Diana alone, right? And I'm spending more time with my other friends, but. Like, you know, Diana is not gonna move in with me for the rest of her life. She's gonna move in with her partner for the rest of her life, for example. And this I can say about any other friend of mine. Like, they're not gonna move in with me at some point in their life, probably. They're just gonna be with their partner, probably. And I think that's just a bit like, I don't know, sad for me.
Maybe you really value your alone time. Maybe that's why you hate romantic love.
Yeah, maybe I also really value
Because
my...
romantic love and platonic love, where's the difference?
Where do you put the limit?
Yes. Because now I'm really asking the questions. Because you said
Yeah, it's true. I don't know.
you said that with friends you can really have sex and kiss and make up. But what's the difference from romantic love and platonic
I
love?
don't know, because I never felt romantic love. Like,
But what's the difference? How do you know if you feel it?
how do you... Yeah, that's a good one. I think it's more like a reaction in your brain, isn't it?
Oh my
It's true. It is a reaction in your brain. It's like literally chemistry. It's like
Yes,
substances
but how do
combined
you
in
know
it.
you're not in love with me right now?
Because I don't think I am.
But how do you know?
I don't know. But how do you know that you're in love then? You can also ask this
Because
question.
it's a really different feeling. Because I view you differently than I would view my partner. My partner would be my person. It's like the person you trust, the person would be there for you in
Yeah, but I
sickness,
feel
in
like
health.
this all my
Friends come and go.
No, for me it's not like that. It's like if you have a friend, it's for life. Like if you call, this is why I don't like. For me, the concept, like I said, that Diana is my best friend, but like I don't have best friends. I have friends and only friends, because all my friends are really close to me. Like they are my person. Like if I have a problem, I know that I can count on them. I know that I can call them and be like, hey, you know, I have this problem. If they have a problem, they can count on me. Like it's two sides. Like if I call you a friend, and not that it's a privilege, because it's not that nice to spend time with me, but like really I'm there for you and you're there for me. It's kind of like we are married now, you know, in a way. Also, like I feel like society really made like romantic love a thing, because of course, like let's look at relationships. Like you have all these movies about like romantic love and whatever not, but you don't really have portraits of like platonic love that much. Of course you do have them, but not as much as romantic love. And romantic love was always like such a big thing. You have Romeo and Juliet, but do you have a Romeo and Juliet for friends? Not so much. Maybe if you do, nobody knows about it, right? Like it's also like, yeah, you know, a bit sad, I think. Also, like you have all these advantages if you get married, for example. And of course marriage was not started as a romantic thing, but now it kind of became a romantic thing, right? And you have like, you can pay less for like taxes and whatever, but you cannot do this with a friend. So I also feel like in society in general, it's not only that you as a person view it differently, but maybe you are conditioned to view it differently because of the society that you live in. Because if the society points out that all romantic love is the thing that we should all believe in, then you will believe in it, kind of, if you want to or not. This is how I view it again, and I'm not saying that I'm that different, because maybe one day I'm gonna be in love and view the same as everyone else, but like I feel like society kind of points towards that. So it's kind of like, oh, romantic love is the thing that we all have to aim for. And it's not like that. You know what I mean?
Okay.
You really love this subject. I love it. You're really passionate.
I love that she's so passionate about it.
She's really
I know.
passionate.
But I'm gonna go back to you later. I have a lot of questions, but we're gonna back to Diana for now.
What's love for me? Well, I'm the opposite of her.
Okay.
I really believe in romantic love. It's something, I don't know, I dream about, I can say it. Because I really believe you have a partner in life, and he would be your rock. He would be the person that would be there for you all along. And maybe it's because I saw it in my parents' marriage as well, because they were really close and they got through all of these problems together, and they made such a beautiful family. So I really want that. I don't know if I want a family like with children. I don't know if I really want a stable home or just travel around the world. I don't know, things like that. But I would really like to have a person to spend time with. For example, I wouldn't want to travel alone. I would like to travel with somebody. That's why I chose Anelia. But if I would have a partner, and for me, friends, you see, for me, friends come second. That's why, because I think the most important thing, you have a person and you put your trust in them, and they would never let you down. But friends, they can let you down so many times, because they also have their partners most of the time, like 90%, especially when you get older, and I don't know, 80% of people marry. So then if they have a problem in their family, they wouldn't care about your problems that much, because they have their family, they have things, I don't know, think about, they have the partners as well. It's their own little circle.
Right. Now let's go back to the love story, the love topic. So different. What we were saying, because we stopped in the middle.
She was talking about it.
Yeah, love. Yeah. Romantic love, rock, and family. And you say, have you ever disappointed by friendship?
Yes, many times. Most friendship. I think I have like, I don't know, 50 friendships till now, and I
50?
only, yes, 50 at least.
But would you call them friendships?
Friendships, like people that went into my house and I spent time with them.
But I feel like you invite everyone in my house, for example. So for me, that's not really a friend. But okay.
Okay, I don't.
Yeah.
And we grew apart every single time, because everybody has, I don't know,
Okay.
I don't know, everybody wants different things from life. So we grew apart. Maybe it's because we're children as well, and growing up, we kind of get your own personality. But I don't know, platonic friendship is really important as well, but in my family, we don't have a lot of friends. It's mostly family. So maybe that's why I think romantic love is more important.
So you want to have some sort of solid, structured, strong, like romantic relationship.
Yes, for sure.
Before I forget, I'm going to ask you a question about,
Yeah.
because the way when you describe that, it seems to me that when you wanted the friendship, that friend to stay with you, even if departing from you, finding another partner might make that person even happier.
Yeah, but I totally agree.
You know, but isn't that kind of against the original
Of the friendship.
Yeah, pressure, because you know you want your friends to be happy.
Yeah, it's true. But I mind it for myself, but I am happy for them. It's always like that, isn't it? It's like also with the med school exam, for example, if Diana would have gotten and I wouldn't have gotten in, I would have been really happy for her, of course, because it was what she wanted. She worked hard for it, but I would have been really sad for myself also.
Okay.
You know, like I can do that. Like I can be happy for a person and also be like not happy for me.
Very good question. I mean, answer. Have you two ever fallen in love?
I haven't. That was easy for me.
I don't think I fell in love. I think I wanted it so bad to fall in love, but it wasn't the right person.
You can't really choose them, can you?
No, I don't think we have much to choose from in Romania, actually,
Exactly.
because
Oh, really?
there are not many good boys. So.
No, I feel like boys in general. I'm sorry. But yeah, for me it's mostly because, of course, we are, again, society. We are living in a man's world, as Abba once said, you know. And in this kind of world, of course, men are privileged, and there are a lot of good men out there for sure. But most of them that you meet usually are not that great. And it's not, again, it's circumstances. Like, you live in a world where you can do whatever. Again, it really depends on this, like, many things. If, for example, if you're white, of course, a white man and a black man have really different life experiences. Even two white men or two black men have really different experiences. But especially when we are talking like privilege-wise, a white man is gonna have an advantage over a black man, and then maybe you can relate more to a black man as a woman in this society, for example. But yeah, in general, I feel like it's hard to find like a person, like a man that gets you or tries to understand you, because they don't see and they don't live the same as you do, because they are kind of living in their own bubble. It's like trying to make like middle class people trying to talk with like upper class people. Like rich people will not see the problems of the middle class, and the rich people will not see the problems of the poor class because they cannot, because they don't live the same way that you do. So it's gonna be more difficult for them to like get you. And I think this also applies to men.
This girl is super smart.
Yes, she's really smart. She's
Anyway,
smart. That's why I love her.
so both of you never really fell in love, okay?
Yeah.
No.
What kind of quality that do you think you're looking for in your future partner, like a lifelong partner?
Independency. I don't want them to depend on me. I think that's why I will probably end up alone. And I'm good at that as well, because I really want a romantic relationship, but if I don't find the person, I won't sacrifice my peace and my quality of life to make their life better. So I won't cook for them every day because they can't. I won't wash their clothes, I don't know, clean the house, be a housewife, have their babies. No, that's not me. I want a career, I want to travel as well, I want to have my own life.
There's too many cars, sorry.
No, it's okay. It will pass.
Yeah, go on, yeah.
Okay, so as I was saying, I want to have my own life as well. So I don't want them to depend on me because I want a man, not a child.
When did you realize that?
When I saw my brother growing up like a child and not a man. And now, if I think about it, I wouldn't want my future partner to be like my brother at all. At all.
I hope your brother's not gonna see this.
Yeah.
I hope as well. If he does, please get better.
What else? What else qualities?
Intelligence, for sure. And really emotional intelligence. I want them to know their feelings, what they're feeling, and not just keep them to themselves or tell that my feelings aren't valid just because they don't feel them as well, things like that. Emotional intelligence is really hard in women to find in women as well. I don't know if I'll find it in men.
What about you? What qualities?
In a romantic partner.
Yeah.
I don't really know because I never really thought about it. This is the thing, because for me romantic partners, as I said, are not as important as platonic relationships.
Why do I feel like you two girls have never had a phase where, you know how some typical girls like looking at some boys like, oh my god, he's so cute, and like, oh, you know, like, writing love letters, and it's so like having like, did you ever have this phase, this period?
No.
Damn, that's so sad though. Like, where's the childhood?
It is. We had a childhood, we just hated on men as well. It's just.
But why?
I think
How?
you can do both.
Okay, can you talk about the fact that why you don't have this phase?
I think it's mostly our conditions of growing up.
What is this condition?
Always men had the excuse that they would grow up later in life, so they got away with so many things, and we didn't like that at all.
Okay.
And we wanted them to have the same responsibility as we have, and to have the same chores, and I don't know, we couldn't change them, so we just started hating on them.
Yeah.
But we don't hate men,
Just most of them.
just like 80% of them.
What are your feelings towards your parents?
Oh my god. This is such a funny question.
Why? Why are you laughing?
It's really funny because I don't know how to say it, but we are grateful for what our parents did to us, but they're not the best parents.
Of course.
They're not the best parents. I don't know. My parents, for example, my mother is pretty narcissistic, I think I could say. I didn't have a lot of my own money growing up because she would tell me that they don't have the money, so I would give them my money, I don't know, from going caroling or something like that, the money that I worked hard to earn. And then I would see that they bought a new couch. And I was like, you didn't need a new couch. We could use the old one. And things like that. So Now I really have issues with money, and I really try to save money, and sometimes I forget to spend it and enjoy it, just because I never had my money growing up. I always had to rely on them as well. And other things, she was obsessed with cleaning. My house is a museum.
It
A
is.
museum.
A lot to
It's
visit.
IKEA.
A lot to
IKEA.
visit.
Oh my
Yes.
god, you'll think you're in a showroom, you'll not believe it. You're gonna be in her house and be like,
she-
is this your house or is it IKEA?
She would shout at me so much for leaving papers on my desk that I would use later on in the day because they had to be hidden away. Like, I don't know, the Pope would come into my house at any second.
What about your father?
It was present but absent. So he was there all the time. He really loved my mother. He really loved us, the children, and I know he loves us. He was brought up in a family that wouldn't show love that much, so he would never tell us that he loves us. I would tell him I love you, and he just couldn't say it because he isn't used to it. He just now, like the few years, got used to hugging because he was never hugged when he was little. So he was never hugged. He went to like military high school when he was just 14, and he had to grow up. So yes, he has all the excuses. He could still learn to show a little more love, but I excuse him. He was a really supporting father growing up. So that's it.
That's like generational trauma in him.
Yes. I'm trying to break that generational trauma. I'm trying to show love, and as well. He wouldn't really know about my education that much. He would know what high school I would go to, at university, but he wouldn't know the professor I had, or I don't know, things like that. My mother would take all the responsibility for my education. So he wasn't that present. And I wouldn't really talk to him that much. But
Do you talk to your mom?
yes, really much, but sometimes I make the mistake and I tell her too many things. I have to keep some things secret because she tells me that she's my best friend, but when she doesn't like something, she turns from my best friend to my mother. And that's the thing, you are a best friend or you are a mother, you can be both. So it bites me in the ass later on. So I have to really be careful what I tell, and for example, this trip, I have to keep secret some things, piercings, tattoos, secret, because she really doesn't like them. Nothing. She hates them. I think she would disown me if she found out. Yes.
You're so rebellious.
I wanted to live my life, so I rebelled just a little bit, a tiny bit. But I was really good in school, so she has nothing to complain. I did my rebellion, but I didn't mess up my education or my life in general.
Are they proud that you made it to the medical school?
They are really proud. They wouldn't believe it for a few days because I wanted it that much and it was my only option. I wouldn't want to go to any other university, so I didn't have a second choice. I would either get in or I would spend a year at home. And they didn't really want that because they knew that I would see all my other classmates go to university and I would be really depressed and I had to learn the same thing again and again and take the exam, and I wouldn't know what to change exactly because I did my best for the first year. I wouldn't know what to do for the second one. So yes, they are really proud, but they are doing the best. They just aren't the best. That's the thing. They really are trying and they are doing the best, but she had a little bit of shock because we went to some kind of homeopathic doctor.
Okay.
That was really, he did some psychology university, something like that, I don't know. And the first thing when I came into his office, he asked me about my relationship with my mother. I don't know why. But I told him because she was right next to me, like Anelia is now, and I couldn't tell him anything. And I just told him maybe like a few years later on, when I have my my money and I'm on my own and I don't depend on my parents, I would tell the problems I had in childhood. But for right now, I just want to get into college and kind of detach a little bit. And she was really upset because I opened the Pandora box. She was really upset and she kind of forced me to tell me some things that I didn't like. And that was pretty messed up. So I told her a few things, but she said she would change. She didn't change, but I would go to university either way, so it doesn't really matter. And that's what I told her as well. You don't have to change now because I go to university and you won't see my room anymore to shout at me to clean it. You won't see what I do every day. And I was really a rebellious child. Like I wouldn't go out a lot. Like I don't know, in 12th grade. I only went out like 5 times the whole year. I would really just stay at home and just learn because I knew I wanted to get out of the house, of my parents' house, and go to university. I didn't want to spend the year at home. And that is like my first trip alone in another country. This one is like my first one because we went to Vienna like last year, but my parents were in Vienna as well. Just we weren't together. We only met at the airport, but they still were in the same country.
When you talk about your parents, when I ask about your family, none of these show up. But now when I ask about how you feel about them, just
I'm really grateful for all that they gave me because I know I wouldn't get a chance firstly to travel the world. A lot of money and a lot of trust that they put into me that I could do this. They are 3 weeks apart and we have to take multiple trains and sleep in some kind of sketchy hostel. So
I mean, I don't know about the sketchy hostels, but
they don't know about sketchy hostels.
my parents not here, they're not seeing.
But I know the problems that I had growing up. But I think I learned to, overcome them and to live with them.
She's also very intelligent.
Of course she is.
Yeah, gosh. Okay. But for now, we're gonna jump into her right now. What's your feelings towards your parents?
Okay, so I'm gonna be shorter.
No way shorter.
No.
It's alright. It's alright. No, you can say something.
It's trauma dumping. It's fine. It's just
Yeah, it's
on
okay.
video.
Dumping. Yeah. Okay.
I love my mother so much. Like really, I love her. I really do. And I had a great relationship with her, especially like for my past 17 years.
Okay.
Yeah, I guess 18 years even. But then something shifted, I guess. I don't know. I really love her. She was a great mom. She always tried to be there for me, and she was really like doing everything for me to succeed in life, and for me and my father. She's a really hardworking person as well, so I really I took this from her, that I really want to do stuff and be occupied and whatever, because she really does all of this for me, and she is like our main provider. Like she earns the money in the house mostly. Like she is the woman.
Women in power.
Women in power. Like she without her we'd probably be homeless or something. I don't know. Like really, she's doing everything, like literally everything. But because she has so much to do, I guess it gets quite difficult to be a mother as well at times. Like she has work. She literally raises my father and my grandpa, because my grandma has dementia and he cannot do anything on his own. And she didn't want to leave him in a random hospital. She said that she would take care of him.
Wait. Who has the?
My grandpa. So she takes
Your mom's father, right?
Yeah. She takes care of him. She has 2 houses, because we have an apartment that she bought when she was younger. I mean, her and my father, but yeah. And the house that she has from our grandparents, like from my grandparents, that she got as a generation. Like my grandma was like, she's not dead, she's still very much alive, but she was like, yeah, I have to do my will, and I have to put it in here, and then you have the house. And then she also has this house in the village where we have chickens and the garden and everything. So she also has that's a lot of work. So we have the job, 4 children to raise, because my grandma, my father are children, and then me and my brother who are her children, of course, and then the animals, the whatever.
Wow.
So that's a lot. So yeah, then she got really like with all of these, and then it was like, oh, okay, then I guess it's a bit like, I don't know, last year especially, like it really, because as I was telling you, I didn't know exactly what I wanted to do, and I was still shifting in between, like I was really going into more political sciences at the time. I was really into that, and I was thinking really seriously of doing that in another country, and then she kind of was like, no, you cannot really do that. And then I was like, why? And she was like, no, because it's not a good job. And I was like, okay, but I want to do it. And she was like, no. And I was like, okay. So I guess also med school was kind of a middle way. I also really want to do it. It's not like I never considered it, and it's not like I'm not gonna be happy with it. But it's also like, you know, like when they ask you if your parents made you do it, I wouldn't say yes, but I would say that I was very influenced by my mother, especially, to do it. And I'm not regretting my choice. Like I learned a lot. If I didn't want to go to med school, I wouldn't have learned that much, you know. So for sure I want to do it, and I think I'm gonna be a good doctor, or at least I hope so. But yeah, for sure the choice was also influenced a lot by her and what she couldn't achieve in her life. Like for sure some of the things that she wanted for her and she couldn't achieve herself, she wanted me to achieve, and then she kind of put all these like expectations that she had of herself onto me. And then yeah, maybe sometimes it wasn't exactly what I wanted to do, but more what she wanted to do or would have liked to do, but she couldn't because of her situation at the time. Like for example, she became a vet doctor, but she never was a vet doctor for that much. Like I think she worked in the vet like field for like 2 years at most, and then she moved places because she didn't earn a lot, you know, for example. So yeah, also she talks about like human medicine, like medicine in general, and I think she would have liked also to like help people, for example, but she couldn't. So then she wants me to do that, you know, and all of these, like all these expectations that she had of herself and she couldn't achieve, she wanted me to do it, you know, kind of.
So she has a lot of ambition for you.
Yeah, totally. And I feel like sometimes I think that's very good, because without it I couldn't have been like here in Budapest, you know, like traveling or whatever, as Diana said. But I feel like this is also a bit like, you know, maybe sometimes it's not what I want as well for myself. So then it's a bit like, oh, but then I don't want this, but I cannot say no either, because she's my only provider, because I have no money. I have no also like like
No
nothing.
future without her.
Yeah, no future without
We
her.
really depend on our parents for now.
Yeah. Exactly.
So what is it like to having your mom as a main provider? I think you're the only family that in my whole documentary, close to 85 now, but only provider. So what is it like? What is the family situation like?
Well, I guess this is why I also not really into that romantic love stuff. I think this might also be it, because of course, like my father was also a good father, I guess. Like, I don't know, I never really talked to him. This is the thing.
How? Why?
I don't know. We lived in the same house. I just didn't really like him, I guess. I don't know. Because in my head, it was, you know, I went to therapy for this one. It was like, my mom, my mom was like a goddess, you know, in my head. And it's always been like this. This is the thing. Like, even now, when I'm thinking of my mom, I'm like, wow, she's like a superhero, right? Because she does all these things. She like provides for us, whatever. And she still like keeps, like, yeah, of course, I can see it now that I'm older, maybe that she cannot really be such a good mother because of all of this. But before, like, I felt like she was really like there, you know, and whatever. So for me, it was always like, she was a goddess. My dad, by comparison, was always like, nothing, you know, like he was like, yeah, he was there and he tried his best to provide for us and whatever, but my mom was always like way better and whatever, you know. But again, not because like my dad, if he worked as hard as my mom, he would have earned more probably, but because my mom was so hardworking, like she would go weeks at a time, you know, just to provide for the family and whatever. Also, like my mom, even when she was really trying to leave, like not trying to leave us, like every time she would go, she wasn't going away that much actually, but every time she would like cry, but like I couldn't see her, but I know that she did, you know, because then I was always crying when she was leaving, you know. And then it was like, yeah, she never left maybe more than 2 weeks at a time, but it was still really hard on me. And she was always like this great thing that just came into my mind. She was like this beautiful person, like the best, like the smartest, the most beautiful, you know, whatever. And then there was my dad, and he was like, nah.
Well, at least your does your father at least play, the gentle and caring kind of provider? Like, let's say the role changed traditionally. Role changed. Does he do kind of like cooking?
He's
cleaning?
the housewife.
No.
No?
This is my mom does everything, like everything.
Even the cleaning,
Yeah,
everything.
she's the housewife. She's the mother. She's
She's
the
the businesswoman.
she's the business.
How is it possible?
I don't know.
Women.
This is the thing.
Women.
This is why I think I also like. And in my head, it was always like my mom just missed her chance in life by having us and by having my father like to marry. Like it was always like, yeah, because I wasn't.
Could do so much.
Yeah, she could do so. Like she had such a great potential, and it was just wasted. Like she decided to marry, to have a kid. I was also an unexpected kid. Like she didn't plan to have me, So it was also like she didn't plan to have me. She had such a great potential. She couldn't find like a 10,000 better man. I'm so sorry, but it's true because he was like she's.
Let's hope your father doesn't.
Yeah, that's how my father doesn't see this, but like he doesn't know English, it's fine. It's like really, she's so like, especially considering her conditions. Like out of all her sisters, she's the best of. Like she has the most money in the family, kind of girly. She's really like going places. I don't know.
Is your father really good looking?
Nah. No, I don't know. This is the thing.
It's a thing with Romanian men. They're all bald and have a tummy. I think that's the new hot.
Yeah. Really, it's true.
Okay, now let's quickly jump to Diana, because Diana's father was a slightly different figure, right? So
Yes.
the father is like the main provider, I assume, and then
Yes.
also you told me that he loves your mom.
Yes, maybe it's because he was the main provider. That's why he felt like he wouldn't have to be as important in my education and his relationship with me. Maybe that's why, because he would bring the money to the household. He had his purpose. He served his purpose. He would leave my mother the rest of it.
Very traditional man,
Yes.
traditional.
Yes, I think.
But at least like his relationship with your mom was a bit different. So I was wondering like, how, let's say, if her parents' relationship was shaped the way she understands romance, and then viewing the man, understanding the man, and how she thinking about marriage and children and everything, and your parents' relationship, your father to your mom. So can you talk about a little bit that, like your mom's relationship with your father?
Well, their relationship is pretty traditional, I could say, and it's more like a fairy tale just because my mother, like I said, wasn't wanted by my father's family, so they had to kind of run away together. So they just started up everything.
That's true love then.
That's true love, I think. Yes, they have their problems like every married couple, but it's nothing serious, and they're always there for each other. So.
And the gap between your brother and you, that's 8 years, right?
Yes.
So that's like big gap.
It's a big gap because I wasn't planned as well. I didn't want a second child because my brother was really sick growing up. So they were really scared I would come out sick as well. So they didn't want a second child. They didn't have the money to go to all the doctors for my brother.
Really?
But by some miracle, when I was born, all my brother's health issues were solved. So they wouldn't have to pay for anything after that.
And that's why your mom was also so care about him, because of his health condition.
Yes, that's it. That's why. Because he had some things like some seizures when he was little, and also he was really skinny growing up. He was a little man. Now he works out, so he has some muscle. But growing up, he was you would think he was 4 years younger than he would actually be, just because he was not that tall, not that really skinny, kind of ill looking.
Is he? What's your relationship with you and your siblings?
Really good. I don't know. It's a relationship we're kind of like friends.
Okay.
More than a brother and sister, because when I kind of knew what was going on around me, he would leave for college. So we didn't really spend that much time.
Okay.
Growing up when we were little, we would share the same bed for the first few years of my life.
Yeah,
so that was the period I remember, but I don't remember that well because I was little. And when I was older and I couldn't understand him, and I wouldn't like try to fight him or argue with him.
gap.
Yes, he wasn't home. So that's why we have more of a mature relationship. We know we can count on each other, but we miss each other. But I can say that I'm as close as, I don't know, with Anelia. I think I'm more close with Anelia than with my brother because I didn't spend that much time with him. We couldn't.
Okay.
We didn't have to.
What are your obstacles in your life right now?
What?
Obstacles, like something.
Obstacles?
Yeah, something stops you, like something like. What do you think that?
I don't know. The only obstacle was the entry to med school. Now that I'm in, I feel like I can pretty much do anything because I can go to university. I know my parents will support me financially, so I don't have to worry about that. I know, I don't know, I can manage the university, and I have a place to stay. I have my own life. I don't know. Now I'm thinking more of a romantic relationship because until now I just focused on my education. So maybe that's the only obstacle, that I'm alone. I don't say that's an obstacle really, so maybe.
Obstacles.
Me? I don't really know. I think for me an obstacle, but it's not really an obstacle. It's mostly saying now goodbye to the people that I'm really close to. For example, I have already like long distance friendships with the people from Germany that I see once or twice a year. This is not a lot.
Yeah.
We always talk and we know we can count on each other. But now I also have to say goodbye to more people now that I'm leaving for uni.
Where are you going?
Like 7 hours away from our main town.
Which city is it?
Târgu
It's not in the Bucharest.
Nah.
No.
Thank God.
Thanks God.
We hate
Okay,
Sorry.
I'm sorry.
It's just too busy and
Okay.
not a great city.
So for me, I guess this is like saying goodbye to my friends now that I also spend like a lot of time with. Now I'm also gonna have to see them like less times a year, like maybe 4 times a year if I have the chance, but this is not a lot. And I'm thinking like, you know, because you don't really realize that you spend a lot of like that. For example, I just had a trip with my friend that I'm like, he's living in Germany right now. So I think this was like kind of my last time that I really spent that much time with him. Like, you know, for at least some time, but like in general, I also feel like, you know, like only 3 years of my life that I spent so much time with these people, and now I'm gonna have to say goodbye. I think this is
Let me quickly before I'll continue this question. So, do you think that this boy and her might have a romantic potential?
Yes,
Oh, okay.
actually.
Oh my God, no way!
Yes.
I think so.
They're so different.
Oh my
Really
God,
different.
No way.
He, I think, is like the masculine version of me. So maybe that's why I think they would kind of work. I have like 2 things in mind. Firstly, there are like 2 scenarios. They could really just be friends forever, and she would just be single forever and would have just platonic relationships like she would want. And the second scenario is that she would marry and have children. They're just like the opposite ends. Because I'm gonna analyze you a little bit,
Oh
but
my
because
God.
her father didn't have like a purpose growing up. Maybe that's why she doesn't see the purpose of other men in her life. Maybe that's the reason why she doesn't want another man in her life.
Yeah, no, I'm not saying no. We talked about this multiple times,
Yes.
and I always say yeah, maybe.
We always say that it would be really funny.
It would be really funny. It's true.
Too funny, too.
To like marry a man, for example,
to marry a man
and
and have his children. That would be the funniest thing ever, because for years now she would tell me when I talk about a guy or a romantic relationship, she would tell me, ew.
Yeah, man.
If you like
Oh,
him,
wait.
I guess.
So you never
No,
had.
ironically, of
I know,
course.
but you never had like romantic feelings to a boy or girl, whatever. No.
I don't think so.
Oh, wow, that's weird, isn't it?
It's weird, no?
But what does successful life mean to you?
Traveling,
Okay.
totally traveling for me. Like to like just be able, you know. The thing is that, you know, the life that most people I feel like aim for is like to work a job that you enjoy, and then like for maybe at most 1 month a year to go away, like 1 month in total, like to have a city break once in a while maybe. But this is the ideal life. No, for me it's not like I don't want a city break here and there and like 1 week of like vacation a year. No, I really want to travel. Like I want to go from to country like as most as possible. I feel like this is what I want to do, like traveling. And this is a successful, like of course, having money, being a good doctor, for sure. This, yeah. But traveling, like really, this is like the one thing that at least now, okay, I'm young, I'm 19. I feel like every young person wishes like to travel, especially in our generation. And everyone makes it seem so easy, even though it's not. But you know, again, it's also an age thing. I'm not denying it. I'm not saying that in like 5 years I'm gonna think the same. No. But at the moment, like what I really want to do is travel, and this is what I also want for my future self, to like travel a lot.
Diana?
Well, I'm pretty much the stereotype.
Okay.
Because I want to be a doctor, of course. I want that job, and that would be like 90% of my time. And I want to travel like 4 times a year. My professor with whom I took private lessons would go twice a year for 1 month.
What lesson?
Private lessons
What?
to get into med school.
Oh, okay.
So anatomy.
Okay.
He would go twice a year for 1 month to another country and would stay there, and I think that would be really nice. But my first priority would be my career, and then my relationships with other people, friends, lovers, and then would be traveling.
So that will be success life.
Yes.
Right. Did you also travel like what she did?
Yes, not that much, because I didn't have a lot of money growing up. So we would go like to the seaside in Romania. And when I was 12, 13, my father went to Afghanistan for the 3rd time.
Okay.
And there was a really, really bad accident. And some of his colleagues died.
Okay. Wow.
And he was really thinking about life. And he saved the money, and we went to Turkey on the seaside, and we went like 7 years in a row from then, because he said that they would really save up to buy a new house, to buy a new car. Everything was coming up at once for us children, school, clothes. But he said that it's important to travel and live life as well, not only do the taxes.
We're gonna quickly jump into something else, and maybe we can come back this later. Actually, we probably covered most of it, because marriage, children, love, partner, quality. Okay.
7 years we'll both be married with 7
Oh my
children.
God!
And we look at this bag now, and we have
Diana,
like a child man that we have to take care
in 7
of.
years we have to be in Guatemala and drink wine. Come on.
Yes.
Okay. So we're gonna testify that in 7 years. That would be so nice, right?
Yeah.
I cannot wait to the next project,
Yeah,
because like
yeah.
it's gonna be so much fun to compare. Like some things that you've said now,
Totally.
and
We'll have to watch it again, because we'll forget everything we have.